The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber opened with a deep hum that echoed through the vast hall. Representatives from 47 different worlds hurried to their seats, their alien forms creating a colorful tapestry of scales, fur, crystal, and metal. The emergency session had been called with less than 6 hours' notice, something that had not happened in over 200 years. Ambassador Kyle of the Nexari Empire stood at his crystal podium, his translucent blue skin shimmering under the chamber's soft lights. His forearms moved gracefully as he activated the central display screen. The image that appeared showed a familiar yellow star, surrounded by 9 planets. The Sol system, home to the humans. Fellow representatives, Kale began, his voice carrying easily through the chamber's acoustic systems. We face an unprecedented situation. For exactly 72 hours and 14 minutes, all communication from Earth has ceased. A wave of murmurs swept through the assembly. Commander Vex of the Thorian fleet, a massive reptilian being with dark green scales, slammed his clawed fist on his seat's armrest. Good. Those troublesome primates have been nothing but problems since they joined our council. Silence, called High Arbiter Zenth from his elevated platform. The ancient being's mechanical voice cut through the noise like a blade. His cybernetic implants glowed red as he surveyed the chamber. Ambassador Kale, please continue your report. Kale nodded, his large black eyes reflecting the display screen. Our monitoring stations recorded the last human transmission at standard time 847.3. It was a routine trade negotiation with the Alterian Collective regarding grain shipments. Since then, nothing. No diplomatic messages, no emergency calls, no commercial traffic. Even their entertainment broadcasts have stopped. Chancellor Iram of the Peaceful Eldari raised one of her 6 arms. Her pale, ethereal form seemed to glow with inner light. This is most concerning. Humans are notorious for their constant communication. They broadcast everything, their news, their music, their political debates. They never stop talking. Exactly my point, growled Commander Vex, rising to his full 8-foot height. They talk too much, fight too hard, and refuse to follow proper protocols. Their military tactics are chaotic and unpredictable. Remember the Battle of Kepler Station? They used garbage haulers as attack ships. And they won, Chancellor Iram pointed out quietly. Against a Vorthon fleet that outnumbered them 3-1. Lucky shot, Vex muttered, but his tone suggested he did not believe his own words. Admiral Crix of the Zenthari stepped forward. His tall, slender form was covered in a silver exoskeleton that gleamed like liquid metal. Our deep space sensors show normal energy signatures from Earth. The planet appears inhabited and functional, but all attempts to establish contact receive only automated responses. What do these responses say? Asked Senator Plix of the Aquatic Collective. Her dome-shaped helmet bubbled with the nutrient-rich water she needed to breathe. Admiral Crix activated his personal data pad. The message is always the same. This is Emergency Protocol 7. All vessels maintain distance from Sol system. Quarantine procedures in effect. Do not approach. The transmission repeats every 30 minutes on all standard frequencies. The chamber erupted in concerned chatter. Emergency Protocol 7 was a code that most species recognized. It meant biological hazard. The implications were serious. If humans had encountered some kind of plague or disease, it could potentially spread to other worlds. Dr. Kern of the Scientific Collective spoke up, her insectoid form clicking as she moved. Protocol 7 suggests contamination, but our long-range scans show no signs of environmental damage or atmospheric changes on Earth. The planet appears normal. Too normal, added Kale. Earth should be buzzing with activity. Instead, it is eerily quiet. High Arbiter Zenth processed this information through his cybernetic brain. What was Earth's last official communication to this council? Kale consulted his records. 3 days before the silence began, Ambassador Li Na sent a routine report on human mining operations in the asteroid belt. Nothing unusual. She mentioned increased productivity and some new techniques they were testing. Mining techniques, mused Chancellor Iram. Humans are always experimenting with new ways to extract resources. Perhaps they discovered something dangerous? Commander Vex snorted. Or perhaps they finally realized they were outmatched and decided to hide like cowards. Their technology is still primitive compared to most council races. Their fastest ships are barely faster than our cargo haulers. Yet their military has never lost a major engagement, Admiral Crix pointed out. Their ships may be slow, but their tactics are creative. Creative is a polite way of saying crazy, Vex replied. They use methods no sane military commander would consider. Ramming attacks, suicide runs, using civilian ships as weapons platforms. It is not honorable. Honor does not win battles, said a new voice. General Thok of the warrior Mandorian race stepped into the speaking circle. His forearms were crossed over his armored chest, and his red eyes glowed with intensity. Results win battles, and humans get results. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives wanted to investigate immediately. Others suggested waiting to see if the humans would resume contact on their own. A few, led by Commander Vex, argued that Earth's silence was a blessing and should be left alone. But one voice had remained notably quiet throughout the discussion. Finally, High Arbiter Zenth called for attention. We have heard many opinions today, but we must consider all possibilities. What if this silence is not an accident? What if it is intentional? The chamber fell silent. The idea that humans might be deliberately ignoring the galaxy was both intriguing and worrying. You suggest they are planning something? Asked Admiral Crix. I suggest we know very little about human psychology, Zenth replied. They are the youngest race in the Council, yet they have achieved remarkable things in a short time. Their adaptability is unprecedented. Perhaps this silence serves a purpose we do not understand. Deep in the discussion, no one noticed the small monitoring device hidden in the chamber's ventilation system. The device, no larger than a coin, recorded every word spoken and transmitted. The data through a series of quantum relays to a receiving station hidden in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Captain Tayman of the reconnaissance vessel New Sol watched the transmission from his command chair. His ship was completely hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid, its hull coated with materials that absorbed sensor beams. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. They are taking the bait, he whispered into his communication headset. All ships maintain position and continue monitoring protocols. Lieutenant Sora looked up from her communication station. Sir, we are receiving updates from the other listening posts. The Council fleet is being assembled, 12 ships from 6 different species. Good, Tayman nodded. Signal Earth Command. Tell General Hansol that Phase 1 is proceeding exactly as planned. The captain turned to look at the main display screen, which showed the slow gathering of the Council investigation fleet. Each ship represented advanced technology and formidable firepower. Any one of them could probably destroy Earth's entire defensive fleet in direct combat. But direct combat was not what humanity had in mind. Engineer Wu Jin worked at a side station, fine-tuning the hidden transmission relays that would be crucial for the next phase of their plan. Sir, all communication arrays are functioning perfectly. When they enter the Sol system, we will know their exact positions and capabilities. How long until they arrive? Tayman asked. At current speed, approximately 18 hours, replied Navigator Kyung Ho. They are being very cautious. Of course they are, Tayman smiled. They think we might have a plague. Fear makes people careful, and careful people are predictable. Back in the Council chamber, the debate was finally reaching a conclusion. High Arbiter Zenth raised his mechanical arm for silence. We will dispatch a reconnaissance fleet to investigate the situation. If humans are in danger, we have a duty to offer assistance. If they are planning something hostile, we need to know. I volunteer to lead the mission, declared Admiral Crix. The Zenthari have the most advanced sensor technology. We can learn what the humans are hiding. I will provide military support, added Commander Vex. If those mammals are planning treachery, they will find the Thorian fleet ready for them. Other representatives quickly volunteered their ships and crews. The mission was seen as either a rescue operation or a fact-finding mission, depending on one's opinion of human intentions. Chancellor Iram remained concerned. I still believe we should attempt further communication before sending a fleet. Humans value directness. Perhaps we should simply ask them what is wrong. We have tried, Kale reminded her. They refuse all contact except for that automated message. Then we investigate, decided High Arbiter Zenth. The fleet will depart within 12 hours. Approach with caution, but be prepared for any situation. As the session ended and representatives began filing out of the chamber, none of them noticed the small monitoring device completing its final transmission before quietly self-destructing in a flash of light too brief to be detected. On Earth, deep beneath the Colorado mountains, General Hansol stood in the main command bunker surrounded by screens showing DA. The Council investigation fleet moved through space like a formation of deadly predators. 12 ships representing the most advanced military technology in the galaxy approached the Sol system with careful precision. Each vessel maintained perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the distant light of Earth's sun. Admiral Crick stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Zenthari vessel Stellar Mind. His silver exoskeleton reflected the soft blue glow of his ship's control panels. Around him, his crew worked with quiet efficiency, their long fingers dancing across holographic displays that showed detailed scans of the approaching solar system. "Report," Crix commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had led fleets for over a century. Science Officer Kell looked up from her scanning station. Her crystalline features sparkled as data flowed across her neural interfaces. "Long-range sensors show normal planetary signatures, Admiral. Earth appears to be functioning normally. We detect standard energy outputs from major population centers." "And communications?" "Still nothing except the automated warning message. It repeats every 30 minutes on all frequencies. Emergency Protocol 7. Maintain distance. Quarantine procedures in effect." Admiral Crick studied the tactical display showing the positions of all 12 ships in his fleet. Commander Vex's massive Thorian battleship Crushing Fang held the left flank, its weapon systems powered but not targeted. Chancellor Irim's peaceful exploration vessel Harmony Song maintained a position at the rear, its advanced sensors passively scanning for signs of life. "Any response to our identification signals?" Crix asked. "Negative, sir. The automated system acknowledges our presence but provides no additional information." From the communications station, Lieutenant Peck spoke up. "Admiral, I am detecting some unusual energy signatures from the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The patterns are irregular." "Elaborate." "The readings suggest mining operations, but the energy output is inconsistent with normal extraction procedures. It appears to fluctuate in a random pattern." Admiral Crix processed this information. Humans were known for their mining operations throughout their solar system. They extracted resources from asteroids with impressive efficiency, despite their relatively primitive technology. But random energy fluctuations suggested something unusual. Could it be equipment malfunction? He wondered aloud. Science Officer Kell ran additional scans. "Possibly, sir. Or it could indicate hasty abandonment. If humans evacuated their mining operations quickly, they might have left equipment running without proper shutdown procedures." The thought was troubling. If humans had indeed fled their own solar system, it suggested something truly dangerous had occurred on Earth. The automated quarantine message supported this theory. "Admiral," called Navigator Hicks from his position, "we are receiving a priority message from the Thorian vessel." The main display screen flickered to life, showing Commander Vex's intimidating form. His red eyes glowed with intensity as he spoke. "Admiral Crix, my sensors are detecting weapon signatures from several asteroid locations. Inactive but recently used." "What type of weapons?" "Human kinetic accelerators and missile systems. The heat signatures suggest they were fired within the last few days." This news sent a chill through the bridge crew. If humans had been fighting something in their own solar system, it could explain both the silence and the quarantine warning. "Any signs of other hostile forces?" Crix asked. "Negative. Only human weapon signatures, but Admiral..." Vex paused, his expression troubled. "The firing patterns make no sense. They appear to have been shooting at empty space. Hidden within, a carefully camouflaged asteroid roughly 3 million kilometers away." Captain Taman smiled as he watched the alien fleet's increasingly confused discussions. His ship, the New Sol, was completely invisible to their sensors, its hull coated with materials that absorbed virtually all forms of detection. "They are reacting exactly as predicted," he reported quietly to his communications officer. "Signal. The other observation posts. Begin Phase 2 monitoring." Lieutenant Sora nodded and sent coded transmissions to hidden human bases throughout the solar system. Each base was disguised as a defunct mining operation or abandoned research station. To alien sensors, they would appear to be recently evacuated, facilities showing signs of hasty departure. "Sir," reported Engineer Wu Jin from his console, "all decoy systems are functioning perfectly. The alien fleet is following our predicted approach vector." Captain Taman studied the tactical display showing the positions of all 12 alien ships. Each vessel represented technology far superior to anything Earth could build. Their shields alone could probably withstand everything in Earth's military arsenal. But shields were useless against an enemy that had no intention of fighting. "How are our friends doing down there?" Taman asked, gesturing toward a screen showing Earth. "General, Hansol reports that all surface operations are proceeding normally," Sora replied. "Citizens have been instructed to maintain their regular activities but avoid unnecessary broadcasts. The blackout is holding perfectly." "And the special packages?" Engineer Wu Jin grinned. "Dr. Hyojin's quantum virus samples are ready for discovery. The alien scientists will find exactly what we want them to find." Back on the Zenthari flagship, Admiral Crix was growing more concerned by the hour. The closer they came to Earth, the more evidence they found of recent human activity that had been suddenly abandoned. "Admiral," Science Officer Kell reported, "I am detecting traces of an unknown biological agent on several abandoned installations. The molecular structure is unusual." "Dangerous?" "Unknown, sir. The readings are unlike anything in our databases. The biological markers suggest it might be artificially created." This news prompted immediate concern throughout the fleet. If humans had been experimenting with biological weapons and accidentally released something dangerous, it could threaten the entire galaxy. Could this explain their quarantine? Crix wondered. "It is possible, sir. If they created something they could not control, they might have imposed an isolation protocol to prevent its spread." Commander Vex's image appeared on the communication screen again. "Admiral, my boarding teams have examined 3 abandoned mining stations. We found evidence of hasty evacuation and traces of the same biological agent. Whatever the humans were doing, they stopped suddenly and left everything behind." "Any signs of violence or struggle?" "Negative. It appears they simply left, like they received an urgent order to evacuate immediately." Chancellor Iram's gentle voice came through the communication system from her ship. "Admiral Crix, I am detecting some concerning energy readings from Earth's moon. There appears to be significant activity in the subsurface installations humans built there." "What kind of activity?" "High-energy quantum fluctuations. The pattern suggests they might be running some kind of massive computation or preparation." The word preparation hung in the air like a threat. If humans were preparing something on such a scale that it required their moon-based facilities, it could not be good news for anyone. "Sir," Lieutenant Pex interrupted, "we are receiving an encoded transmission from one of the abandoned research stations on Europa." "Put it through." The transmission was weak and filled with static, but the voice was clearly human. It was a recording, made by Dr. Jun Ho, one of Earth's leading scientists. Research log, day 47. "The project is proceeding faster than expected. The biological agent shows remarkable adaptability to different atmospheric conditions. Early tests suggest it could survive in 90% of known alien environments." The transmission crackled with interference before continuing. "Command has ordered acceleration of the timeline. They believe the Council races are planning some kind of action against Earth. We may not have much time to complete our work. If they come for us, at least we will not go quietly." The message ended abruptly, leaving the alien crews in stunned silence. Admiral Crix felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. The implications were terrifying. If humans had created a biological weapon designed to target alien species, and if they believed the Council was planning to attack Earth, they might be desperate enough to use it. "All ships," He broadcast to his fleet. Increase alert level to maximum. We may be dealing with a hostile bioweapon situation. From the Thorian battleship, Commander Vex's voice crackled with anger. I knew those mammals could not be trusted. They have been planning treachery all along. We do not know that for certain, Chancellor Irim's calm voice reminded them. The message could be a contingency plan they never intended to use. Or it could be their final gambit, Crix replied grimly. Science Officer Kell, what is your assessment of this biological agent? Based on the trace samples we have collected, sir, it appears to be engineered at the quantum level. It exists in a state of superposition that allows it to adapt to different biological systems. If released, it could potentially affect most council species. But not humans? The molecular structure suggests it would be harmless to human physiology. They appear to have designed it specifically to target non-human nervous systems. The alien fleet continued its cautious approach toward Earth, unaware that every word of their conversation was being recorded and transmitted to human intelligence. Officers throughout the solar system. On Earth, General Han Sol watched. The Council fleet had now been in the Sol system for 6 days, and the evidence they were gathering painted an increasingly disturbing picture. Dr. Fear of the Aquatic Collective was the first to piece together what the aliens believed was happening on Earth. Dr. Fear floated in her specially designed atmospheric suit as she examined samples from the abandoned human research stations. Her tentacles moved gracefully through the nutrient-rich water that filled her helmet, while her large eyes studied the data streaming across her portable analysis equipment. The molecular structure is impossible according to everything we know about biology, she reported to Admiral Crix through her communication system. This agent exists in quantum superposition. It is simultaneously organic and synthetic, alive and dead, stable and reactive. Admiral Crix studied the report from his position on the Zenthari flagship. Around him, his crew worked with increasing urgency to understand what humans had created in their desperation. Could such a thing occur naturally? He asked. Absolutely not, sir. This required deliberate engineering at the subatomic level. The humans have achieved something that our most advanced scientists would consider theoretical at best. Science Officer Kell looked up from her own analysis station. Admiral, I have been examining the dispersal patterns left behind at the mining stations. If this agent were released into Earth's atmosphere, it would achieve complete planetary coverage within 72 hours. The molecular design allows it to survive in vacuum, so solar winds would carry it throughout the system. And beyond? Eventually, yes, sir. Given enough time, it could spread to neighboring star systems. The implications were staggering. If humans had created a weapon capable of galactic-scale destruction, it changed everything about the balance of power in the galaxy. Commander Vex's angry voice crackled through the communication system from his battleship. This proves what I have been saying for years. Humans cannot be trusted with advanced technology. They are too primitive, too emotional, too violent. Yet they created something we cannot even understand, Chancellor Irim pointed out from her exploration vessel. Perhaps we have underestimated their capabilities. Underestimated their treachery, you mean, Vex replied. They smiled and participated in council meetings while secretly developing weapons to destroy us all. Admiral Crix remained focused. On the tactical situation. Dr. Fear, what is your assessment of our current risk level? Based on the trace amounts we have detected, sir, we have not been exposed to dangerous levels. However, if the agent were to be actively released while we remain in the system. She did not need to finish the sentence. Every member of the fleet understood the implications. Deep in the hidden observation post inside the asteroid belt, Captain Taman watched the alien fleet's growing panic with satisfaction. His crew had been monitoring their communications for nearly a week, recording every tactical discussion and strategic decision. They are playing right into our hands, he reported to Earth through quantum encrypted channels. Every ship has deployed their best sensor equipment. We now have complete scans of Zenthari shield technology, Thorian weapon systems, and Eldari defensive capabilities. Lieutenant Sora smiled as she monitored the data flowing in from other hidden observation posts throughout the solar system. Sir, our people on the outer planets report that the aliens have mapped their own fleet formations perfectly, while searching for our abandoned bases. They have given us a complete tactical analysis of their own strengths and weaknesses. And they still have no idea we are watching, added Engineer Wu Jin. Their own paranoia about the quantum virus has made them focus inward instead of searching for external threats. Captain Taemin nodded with approval. Human psychology was complex and often contradictory, but alien psychology was proving to be surprisingly predictable. Fear made intelligent beings do stupid things, and the Council fleet was demonstrating this principle perfectly. How much longer until Phase 4? He asked. General Hansel wants to wait until they find Dr. Junho's laboratory on Europa, Sora replied. That should push them over the edge. On Europa, the hidden research facility waited patiently for discovery. Dr. Junho had spent 3 days carefully arranging the laboratory to tell exactly the story that Earth wanted the aliens to hear. Real equipment hummed with activity, creating genuine energy signatures. Fake research data was stored in computers that would pass casual inspection. And hidden throughout the facility were trace amounts of the quantum virus that would seem to confirm their worst fears. The breakthrough came when Commander Vex's boarding team finally located the entrance to the underground laboratory. The Thorian warriors approached with extreme caution, their weapons ready and their environmental suits sealed against biological contamination. Admiral, Commander Vex reported, we have found the primary research facility. Energy readings suggest it was recently abandoned, but many systems are still operational. Proceed with extreme caution, Admiral Crix replied. Document everything, but do not disturb any containment systems. The Thorian team moved through the laboratory like they were exploring a tomb. Every surface showed signs of hasty evacuation. Computer terminals left running, experiment chambers still active, research notes scattered across workstations. It painted a picture of scientists who had been forced to abandon their work in panic. The team's leader, Captain Yak, discovered the main research computer still logged into Dr. Junho's account. The screen showed files labeled with terms like airborne dispersal testing, neural pathway targeting, and quantum biological superposition. Admiral, Captain Yak reported, we have found the human research data. It appears to detail the complete development of their biological weapon. Download everything, Admiral Crix ordered, but maintain strict containment protocols. As the alien team copied the carefully crafted false data, they had no idea that hidden cameras were recording their every move, every scanning technique they used, every piece of technology they deployed. Every tactical decision they made was being analyzed by human intelligence officers. The false research files told a compelling story. According to the fabricated data, Earth's government had become convinced that the Council races were planning to either conquer or eliminate humanity. Faced with technological inferiority, human scientists had been ordered to develop an equalizer, a biological weapon that could level the playing field. The files showed months of desperate research, failed experiments, and ethical debates among the scientists. The final entries described successful creation of a quantum-based biological agent that could target the neural pathways common to most galactic species while leaving humans unaffected. Most convincing of all were the personal log entries from Dr. Junho himself, showing a scientist torn between his desire for peace and his loyalty to his species. I pray we never have to use this, one entry read. But if the Council forces our hand, at least Earth will not die alone. When Admiral Crix reviewed the complete data package, he felt a chill that went beyond his physical form. The humans had not just created a weapon, they had created a doomsday device that could potentially wipe out most intelligent life in the galaxy. Analysis? He asked Science Officer Kell. The research appears genuine, sir. The quantum biological principles are theoretically sound, even if we do not fully understand the implementation. If these files are accurate, humans have achieved a breakthrough that puts them decades ahead of our own biological sciences. But they are still using primitive technology, pointed out Navigation Officer Hicks. How could they develop something so advanced? Desperation, Admiral Crix replied grimly. When facing extinction, even primitive species can achieve remarkable things. Chancellor Iram's voice came through the communication system, filled with sadness. Perhaps we drove them to this. Our debates about the human problem were not as secret as we believed. They must have realized that some council members saw them as a threat to be eliminated. That does not justify creating weapons of mass destruction, Commander Vex growled. It proves they were never suitable for council membership in the first place. Or it proves they are more dangerous than we imagined, Admiral Crix observed. The question now is, what do we do about it? The debate that followed was recorded by human listening devices throughout the fleet. Every strategic discussion, every tactical consideration, every political position was carefully noted and transmitted to Earth's intelligence services. Some fleet commanders wanted to withdraw immediately and report their findings to the full Council. Others argued for a preemptive strike against Earth before the weapon could be deployed. A few suggested attempting negotiation, though none were optimistic about the chances of success. Through it all, Admiral Crix found himself thinking about human military history. Humans had a reputation for achieving impossible victories through unconventional tactics. They won battles they should have lost, survived situations that should have killed them, and consistently surprised their enemies with creative solutions. If humans truly had created a quantum biological weapon, they would not hesitate to use it if cornered. The research files made that clear. Earth scientists had overcome their ethical objections when faced with what they believed was inevitable. Destruction, sir, signed. The transmission began without warning, simultaneously appearing on every screen across the Council fleet and broadcasting to every major world in the galaxy. Admiral Crix was reviewing tactical reports when his bridge displays suddenly switched to show the weathered face of a human male wearing a military uniform. "I am General Han Sol of Earth Defense Command," the man said, his voice calm and steady. "For the past week you have been studying what you believe to be evidence of a biological weapon created by humanity in desperation." Around the bridge of the Zenthari flagship, crew members stopped their work to stare at the screens. The general's image was crystal clear, showing no signs of distress or fear. Behind him they could see the busy activity of what was clearly a functioning military command center. "I am here to tell you the truth," General Han Sol continued. "There is no quantum virus. There is no biological weapon. There never was." A stunned silence fell across the bridge. Science Officer Kell was the first to speak. "Admiral, that is impossible. We analyzed the molecular traces ourselves. The quantum signatures were clearly artificial." General Han Sol seemed to hear her, words though that should have been impossible across the vast distance. "Science Officer Kell of the Zenthari vessel. Stellar Mind, you analyzed exactly what we wanted you to analyze. Holographic projections combined with harmless bacteria, engineered to create specific molecular signatures. Quite convincing, was it not?" Admiral Crix felt his exoskeleton grow cold. If the general could address individual crew members by name, it meant humans had been monitoring their communications. But how? "For 3 years, the general continued, we have listened to your debates about the human problem. We have heard your discussions about whether our species should be controlled, contained, or eliminated. Some of you spoke of integration, others of annihilation. But you all agreed on one fundamental point: humanity needed to be managed." Commander Vex's angry voice crackled through the fleet communication system. "This is impossible. Our ships use quantum-encrypted channels. No primitive human technology could penetrate our security." General Han Sol smiled slightly. "Commander Vex of the Thorian battleship crushing Fang, you are correct that your technology is superior to ours. But technology is only as strong as the people using it. And people, regardless of species, are wonderfully predictable when they are afraid." The implications were staggering. If humans had been monitoring Council communications for 3 years, they would know fleet compositions, tactical doctrines, technological capabilities, and strategic plans. The security breach was complete and devastating. "While you studied our abandoned mining stations," Han Sol continued, "you were actually demonstrating your tactical approaches for our hidden observers. While you analyzed our biological samples, you were showing us your scientific methods and technological limitations. While you debated our fate, You were providing us with detailed intelligence about every major military force in the galaxy. Captain Taman watched from his hidden asteroid base as panic spread through the alien fleet. Several ships had already begun attempting to jam their own communication systems, believing that humans had somehow hacked their networks. Others were conducting frantic security sweeps, searching for monitoring devices that did not exist. "Sir," Lieutenant Sora reported with amusement, "they are jamming themselves more effectively than we ever could. 3 ships have lost internal communication trying to prevent us from listening to conversations we have already recorded." "The beauty of paranoia," Captain Taman observed. "Fear makes intelligent beings do the work of destroying themselves." Back on the flagship, Admiral Crix was struggling to understand the scope of the deception. "General Hansol, what do you hope to accomplish with this demonstration?" "Admiral Crix," the general replied, addressing him directly. "You asked an excellent question during your council session 6 days ago. You wondered if humanity's silence might be intentional rather than accidental. The answer is yes." The general's image remained steady as data began scrolling past on side screens. Detailed technical specifications of every ship in the council fleet, complete tactical assessments of their formation patterns, and analysis of their command structures. For 72 hours, the most advanced military fleet in galactic history has voluntarily provided us with comprehensive intelligence about Council defensive capabilities. You have demonstrated your sensor ranges, weapon systems, shield configurations, and tactical doctrines. You have shown us how you react under pressure, how you make decisions under stress, and how you coordinate between different species. Science Officer Kell stared at her console in horror. "Admiral, the data they are displaying, it includes classified technical specifications that should be impossible for them to obtain, unless they recorded every sensor sweep we performed," Admiral Crix realized. Every scan we ran to analyze their biological weapon also revealed the technical parameters of our own equipment. "Precisely," General Hansol confirmed. "We now know more about Council military capabilities than most Council members know about each other. And we achieved this without firing a single shot or launching a single probe." Chancellor Iram's gentle voice came through the communication system, filled with a mixture of admiration and concern. "General, this level of deception required extraordinary planning and coordination. How long have you been preparing for this?" 3 years, Chancellor Iram of the exploration vessel Harmony Song. "Ever since we realized that the Council's debates about humanity were not academic exercises, but preliminary discussions about our fate." The general's expression grew serious. "You see, we learned something important about galactic politics during our early years in the Council. Advanced technology creates arrogance. Species with superior weapons and shields begin to believe they are superior in all ways. They forget that intelligence is not about having better tools. It is about using whatever tools you have more effectively." Dr. Fair of the Aquatic Collective had been quietly analyzing the quantum signatures that had convinced them of the biological weapon's existence. "General Hansol, the molecular traces we detected were extraordinarily sophisticated. How did you create quantum superposition effects using primitive technology?" "Dr. Fair, your question contains a flawed assumption. You assume our technology is primitive because it appears different from yours. But consider this. We created a quantum biological signature that convinced the galaxy's leading scientists, using equipment that costs a fraction of what your laboratories require. Which approach is truly more advanced?" The question hit like a physical blow. If humans could achieve the same results with simpler technology, what did that say about the efficiency and elegance of their science? "Moreover," the general continued, "you have been operating under another false assumption. You believed that Earth had gone silent out of desperation or fear. In reality, we simply stopped talking because we had nothing left to learn from you." Commander Vex's roar of anger echoed through the fleet channels. "You arrogant mammals, you think you can threaten the entire council with parlor tricks and deception? Commander Vex, threats are unnecessary when facts speak for themselves. Your fleet entered our solar system convinced that you were investigating helpless plague victims or dangerous rebels. Instead, you discovered that humanity can orchestrate complex strategic deceptions that fool the combined intelligence services of 47 worlds. The general paused, allowing the implications to sink in before continuing. You came here with superior technology, greater firepower, and advanced tactical systems. Yet for an entire week, you have been completely manipulated by a species you considered primitive. Every decision you made was predicted. Every action you took was planned for. Every piece of intelligence you gathered was exactly what we wanted you to learn. Engineer Wu Jin looked up from his monitoring station in the hidden asteroid base. Sir, we are detecting massive communication bursts from several of the alien ships. They are transmitting everything to their home worlds. Excellent, Captain Taman replied. Phase 5 is proceeding perfectly. Within hours, every government in the galaxy will know what happened here. General Han Sol's transmission continued, his voice remaining calm despite the magnitude of what he was revealing. The question now facing the Council is simple. If humanity can accomplish this level of strategic deception with our current technology, what could we achieve with access to your advanced sciences? The implications were staggering. If Earth could manipulate the galaxy's most powerful military force using primitive technology, giving them access to advanced Council sciences could shift the balance of power dramatically. This was never about creating weapons, the general explained. It was about changing perceptions. For too long, the galaxy has measured worth by technological advancement alone. But intelligence is not about having the biggest weapons or the fastest ships. It is about thinking 3 moves ahead while your opponent is still planning their first. Admiral Crix found his voice after long minutes of stunned silence. General, what are humanity's intentions now? What do you want from the Council? Admiral, we want what we have always wanted, to be treated as equals rather than problems to be solved. For 3 years, Council species have debate. 3 months after the Sol deception, the Galactic Council chambers buzzed with activity unlike anything seen in centuries. Representatives from all 47 member species had gathered for what many considered the most important session in galactic history. The topic was not war, plague, or natural disaster. It was how to integrate humanity into a galaxy that now understood their true capabilities. High Arbiter Zenth stood at his elevated platform, his cybernetic systems glowing, with increased activity as he processed the complex political situation facing the Council. Below him, the assembled representatives showed a mixture of respect, caution, and curiosity that had never before been directed toward a single species. The session will come to order, Zenth announced, his mechanical voice carrying clearly through the vast chamber. Today we address the new paradigm created by humanity's strategic demonstration in the Sol system. Ambassador Lena of Earth stood at the central podium, her presence commanding attention in a way that would have been impossible just months earlier. She wore the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, but everyone in the chamber knew that her apparent simplicity masked extraordinary capabilities. Honored representatives, she began, her voice calm and confident. I stand before you not as a supplicant seeking membership, but as the representative of a species that has proven its worth through actions rather than words. Chancellor Iram of the Eldari was the first to speak, her ethereal form glowing with inner light. Ambassador Lena, your species has indeed demonstrated remarkable strategic thinking, but many of us remain concerned about the methods you employed. The deception was extraordinarily sophisticated. Chancellor Iram, Lena replied, the deception was necessary because direct communication had failed. For 3 years, this Council debated humanity's fate while refusing to seriously consider our perspective. We had to find a way to change the conversation. Commander Vex of the Thorian fleet rose to his imposing height, his red eyes glowing with barely controlled anger. You manipulated the most advanced military force in the galaxy. You made us look like fools. Commander Vex, we demonstrated that advanced technology without strategic thinking is vulnerable to a species that plans more carefully. Your fleet was not made to look foolish. It was outmaneuvered by better preparation. The distinction was important, and several representatives nodded their understanding. Humanity had not humiliated the Council forces through superior firepower or technology. They had achieved victory through intelligence, planning, and psychological insight. Admiral Crix of the Zenthari stepped forward, his silver exoskeleton reflecting the chamber's lights. Ambassador, your species now possesses detailed intelligence about our military capabilities. What guarantee do we have that this information will not be used against council members? Lena smiled slightly. Admiral, you raise an excellent question about trust. But consider this. If we intended to use that information for aggressive purposes, would we have revealed its existence? We could have maintained the pretense and kept our intelligence gathering secret. Dr. Kern of the Scientific Collective clicked her insectoid appendages thoughtfully. The ambassador makes a valid point. By revealing the extent of their intelligence operation, humans have actually demonstrated good faith. They chose transparency over continued deception. Or they revealed it because they achieved everything they wanted, suggested Senator Plix of the Aquatic Collective, her dome-shaped helmet bubbling with nutrient water. What did we want, Senator? Lena asked. We wanted respect. We wanted to be treated as equals rather than problems to be managed. We wanted the galaxy to understand that humanity's value comes not from our technology, but from our ability to think creatively under pressure. General Thok of the Mandorian warriors spoke from his position in the military section. The humans have proven they can achieve strategic victories against superior forces. This is valuable in a galaxy where conflicts arise regularly. But can we trust species that relies on deception? General Thok, every military victory in history has involved some form of deception. The question is not whether we used deception, but whether we used it ethically. We created a scenario that gathered intelligence without causing harm. No ships were damaged, no personnel were injured, and no actual biological weapons were deployed. Hi. Arbiter Zenth processed this argument through his cybernetic brain. Ambassador Lena, your species has demonstrated capabilities that change the balance of galactic power. How do you propose we move forward? With partnership rather than domination, Lena replied. Humanity does not seek to replace the existing order. We seek to contribute to it in ways that benefit everyone. Captain Boram of Earth's Deep Space Reconnaissance had arrived that morning with a detailed presentation about humanity's post-deception activities. She activated the chamber's holographic display system to show a series of collaborative projects that Earth had already begun. In the 3 months since the Sol demonstration, Captain Boram explained, humanity has shared strategic insights with 12 different council species. We have helped the Alterian Collective optimize their trade routes, assisted the Vorthan Republic in resolving a border dispute through negotiation rather than force, and provided tactical consultation to the Nixari Empire regarding their exploration of the Galactic Rim. The display showed detailed examples of human strategic thinking applied to alien problems. In each case, humanity had provided solutions that other species had not considered, using creativity and unconventional approaches to achieve better results. Dr. Sung Hee, Earth's chief scientist, stepped forward to address the technical concerns. We have also begun sharing some of our research methodologies with council scientists. Our approach to quantum engineering may appear primitive, but it achieves results with significantly lower resource costs than traditional methods. Lower costs? Asked Dr. Fur of the Aquatic Collective. How is this possible? By approaching problems from different angles, Dr. Sung Hee explained. While council science focuses on perfecting existing technologies, human science focuses on finding alternative approaches that work around technological limitations. The results are often simpler, cheaper, and more reliable. The presentation included examples of human-designed solutions that solved problems council scientists had been working on for decades. In each case, the human approach used less advanced technology but achieved better results through creative application of basic principles. Engineer So Young activated another section of the display. We have also begun training programs for council military officers who want to learn human tactical thinking. The response has been extraordinary. Officers from 15 different species have requested access to our strategic planning methods. Commander E. Hyun Soo, who had been leading these training programs, provided specific examples. Traditional galactic military doctrine emphasizes technological superiority and straightforward tactics. Human doctrine emphasizes adaptability, creativity, and psychological manipulation of enemy expectations. When combined with advanced council technology, the results are remarkable. The training programs had produced several notable successes. A Xanthari admiral had used human tactical principles to resolve a piracy problem that had persisted for years. A Thorian commander had successfully negotiated the surrender of a rebel fleet without firing a shot, using psychological pressure, techniques learned from human instructors. The question facing this council, Ambassador Lena concluded, is whether you want humanity as a junior partner following established procedures, or as an equal partner contributing new perspectives to galactic civilization. The debate that followed lasted for hours. Some representatives remained concerned about humanity's willingness to use deception and manipulation. Others were excited about the possibilities for technological and strategic advancement through human-alien collaboration. Dr. Min Ho, now head of the Interspecies Strategic Institute, presented the most compelling argument for full partnership. The galaxy faces challenges that cannot be solved through technology alone. Climate management, resource allocation, diplomatic disputes, exploration of dangerous regions. All of these require strategic thinking and creative problem-solving. Humanity offers approaches that complement rather than compete with existing council capabilities. The Institute had already begun producing remarkable results. Human strategic planners working with alien scientists had developed new approaches to terraforming that reduced costs by 60%. Human diplomats working with council negotiators had resolved 3 long-standing territorial disputes through creative compromise solutions. High Arbiter Zenth finally called for a preliminary vote on the key question: should humanity be granted full council membership with access to all technological and scientific resources, or should they remain probationary members with limited access? The vote was closer than expected, but the result was clear. 31 species voted for full membership, 12 voted for continued probation, and 4 abstained. Humanity had achieved full integration into galactic civilization through strategic thinking rather than technological advancement. As the session concluded, Ambassador Lena reflected on the journey that had brought humanity to this point. 3 months earlier,